Have you ever heard that term crypto staking and just felt a little lost? Yeah, it sounds super technical, right? But what if I told you it's actually as simple as planting a garden? Seriously, we're going to walk through this whole thing together, and I promise, by the end, this concept will be something you totally get.
And to do that, we're going to lean on this fantastic guide, Staking Made Simple. It's great because it ditches all the heavy jargon and uses a really simple story to get the ideas across, so we can finally get what's going on without all the usual confusion.
Which, brings us to the big question here, doesn't it? How can something totally digital, just a bunch of code, actually grow like a plant? It sounds kind of like magic, but stick with me, and you'll see the logic behind it is surprisingly simple.
Okay, so first up, Amina's crypto question. To help us navigate this, we're going to follow someone who's probably asking the exact same questions you are right now.
So let's meet Amina. She's just like a lot of us. Curious about crypto, wants to figure out how to make her assets work for her, but she wants to do it without all the stress. We're going to follow her journey from being confused to feeling confident. And by watching her figure it out, you'll get a clear roadmap for yourself.
All right, Section 2, the Garden of Coins. This is where it all clicks. Amina's journey really begins when she starts thinking about the whole thing in a new way, by picturing it as a garden.
Look, here's the absolute simplest way to think about it. If you just hold on to your crypto, it's kind of like keeping seeds in a box. Sure, they're safe, but they're not doing anything. Staking, on the other hand, is like taking those seeds and planting them in a garden where they can actually grow and give you a harvest. You're putting your coins to work.
So what's really happening when you plant those coins? Well, you're basically helping a blockchain network do its job, securing it and making sure transactions go through. It's part of a system called proof of stake, and as a thank you for your help, the network gives you rewards. So your coins help the network, and the network pays you back. It's a total win-win.
So, moving on to Section 3, choosing your garden. Now that Amina gets the basic idea, she has a realization. Just like in the real world, not every garden is the same. Deciding where you plant your coins is just as important as deciding to plant them at all.
Every garden needs a good caretaker, right? Well, in crypto staking, we call them validators. These are the folks, or rather the computers, doing the hard work of keeping the network running smoothly and securely. When you stake, you're essentially choosing one of these caretakers to look after your assets.
And this is exactly why picking the right validator is so important. A good one is like a great gardener. They keep your investment safe. But a careless one, they can make mistakes that lead to a network penalty called slashing. And that means a part of everyone's coins, including yours, can be lost forever. So yeah, doing your homework here is a must.
And then you have to choose the garden itself, the network. You've got big, established networks, like Ethereum. Think of these like well-kept public parks. They offer steady growth and are generally lower risk. But then you have smaller, newer networks. These are more like experimental gardens. They might promise a much bigger harvest, but they also come with a lot more risk.
So what does Amina decide to do? She plays it smart. She starts small, puts a little bit into a well-known, trustworthy network to get the hang of it. Once she's more comfortable and has a little experience, then she can think about expanding. Honestly, it's the perfect way for anyone to get started.
Let's talk about Section 4, rewards, risks, and storms. Now that the seeds are in the ground, we can start thinking about the harvest. But as any gardener will tell you, with the promise of growth comes the risk of a few storms. The real beauty of staking is something called compounding. The rewards you earn start earning their own rewards. It's just like a tiny seed sprouting, growing into a plant, and then that plant grows branches, and on and on. It really shows you how patience can pay off.
But we have to be real about those storms. The network itself could have a glitch. Your validator could mess up or just go offline. And of course, there's always the market. The value of your coins can go up or down. Staking isn't a sure thing, but if you know what the storms look like, you can prepare for them.
So how do the smart gardeners do it? First, they diversify. They don't put all their seeds in just one garden. Second, they know the rules. They understand when it's the right time to harvest or unstake. And most importantly, they reinvest those rewards to really get that compounding effect going. All right, our final section, your first harvest. We've seen Amina go from curious to confident. By sticking to these principles, she's made it through her first staking season. Let's see how things have changed for her.
By starting small, choosing her garden wisely, and really understanding that balance between risk and reward, Amina isn't intimidated anymore. That initial curiosity has bloomed into real confidence. She's learned that this isn't about getting rich quick. It's about strategy, patience, and being part of the network.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Staking is a journey, not a sprint. Plant your seeds wisely, care for them, and harvest with patience. It's all about being a patient gardener, not some frantic trader. If you take care of your investments, they have a real chance to grow.
Amina's journey just goes to show that anyone can get this. So now the final question isn't about whether it's too complicated. It's about what you're going to do next. Your crypto garden is waiting. So, what seeds will you plant?